Wagwan everybody! In today's episode, we'll be discussing a somewhat tragic relationship between what is with little doubt my favourite duo in the whole series, and that is Franklin and Lamar from GTA 5. And this particular thread actually portrays a very sad pattern and what I imagine is a valid problem in many people's lives. It's about friendships that are falling apart because of one of the friends' value system or life objectives at some point changed, which distances the friends from each other, often due to one of the friends beginning to notice the flaws of the other, or that one begins to mean less and less for the other because of some new factor that became a higher priority for them. However, today we'll look at a great example of such a friendship in the shape of the relationship between Franklin and Lamar. So how it all started? Well, maybe it's not the best beginning to the subject, but there is a little inconsistency over when Franklin and Lamar met. See, in the Pac-Man mission, Lamar tells Trevor that he and Franklin met at Davis High School.
I don't care where you and JB met or you and Franklin.
It was at school, motherfucker. Davis High. Me and Frank was always tight.
But in GTA Online in the mission Studio Time from the Contract DLC, Lamar says that Franklin has been talking over him since preschool.
Man, you know the f that is. You motherfucking hater. You always coming in fucking up with your crazy ass. You know who I am, no. Man, chill the f out, Lamar. I swear to God, man, you been doing that shit since preschool, nigga. Shut the f up.
Then, at the end of the Lamar Down mission, Lamar says this.
Yeah, whatever, nigga. You just hit me when you find out what the true concept of friendship is, nigga. We came from the sandbox together.
Now, I know that this phrase is metaphorical and your sandbox homie has not necessarily literally played with you in a sandbox. However, not a lot of people play in sandboxes at high school, so it would be pretty strange to say that someone is your sandbox friend if you only met at high school, at least according to my English knowledge and a bit of logical thinking. In any case, fortunately, that don't matter really whether they met at high school, primary, preschool or at bloody birth. All you gotta know is that Franklin and Lamar were tight and they were doing gangster-ish together for many years. But while playing GTA 5 and listening to conversations between the two, you may start wondering how on earth those two have at one point become friends. Now, Lamar was an irresponsible, violent, small-minded, delusional, naive and impulsive crazy dude that weren't himself if he didn't have some other fool's gun to his head who weren't dodging bullets in the middle of a gang war. And then we got his best friend, Franklin, who seems to pay a lot closer attention to anything, was trying to make something out of himself, was ambitious, serious, tried to minimize risk and was responsible, planning ahead rather than following impulses like Lamar. And at the beginning of the game it could not have been shown better than it was done. First, Lamar asks Michael where is the house from whose owner he and Frank was just about to repo some cars, or rather steal some cars, which would be a more appropriate term since as we know a legitimate businessman Simeon was not exactly so legitimate. Then in the next mission, F and L were asked to repo a bike from some Vago dude. While searching for a bike in the neighborhood, they were spotted by a posse of Vagos though. Now instead of trying to talk their way out of this situation or do literally anything else apart from starting a fully fledged gangbang there, Lamar started a fully fledged gangbang there after one of the essays said "Hola amigos." Because of that, the two ended up killing off the whole neighborhood of Hispanic gangsters and killed the guy that they were meant to repo the bike from in the first place, because they had to get rid of all the witnesses to not get linked to all those dead Vagos. And that complicated the whole repossession thing because as Franklin very accurately noticed,
We can't repo the assets of a dead man, big sitting chief asshole.
So again, Lamar's hot head messed up what at first glance seemed like an easy job. Speaking of jobs, this stunt has contributed to both of them losing their jobs at Simeon's showroom, because they stole the bike that they were meant to repossess for Simeon, because they killed the guy, right? So Simeon was pissed, and adding to it that Franklin mashed up his showroom for Michael not much later, it's not a surprise that they got fired. And then we got the D kidnapping where Lamar called the feds from his cell phone and gave them their location, because of which they lost 40,000. And later Lamar agreed to a drug deal with the same baller he kidnapped, not realizing that it obviously would be Ballas' comeback for the kidnapping, because earlier Lamar let D ID him. I mean, who wants to do business with someone who just kidnapped you? And the drywall Grove Street stretch thing, and the Palito sawmill ambush. Lamar was a blind optimist and criminally naive. Now Franklin would just constantly get him out of whatever kind of cutthroats he'd get himself into, because he still, deep inside, considered him a friend all along. But yeah, what you gotta take out of it is that Lamar was an irresponsible hothead and Franklin was serious and a realist. But how come those two become friends then? This seemed like a proper personality clash, right? Well, after going through all the relevant dialogue in the game, I figured out that Franklin used to be more like Lamar back in the day. Or rather that maybe he was more mature in that, but he didn't have no motivation to not be accepting all the craziness of Lamar. He was more about what Lamar was about, loyalty, unity, respect and such. Lamar was his #1 friend and he would never leave him behind, and he was willing to accept, or actually he probably didn't even notice Lamar's irresponsibility and impulsiveness back then. They came from the hood, so Frank and Lamar were getting involved in drug dealing and hustling for the gang. They obviously wanted a good life, but actually they did not have enough motivation to take risks or try to look for other ways to do it apart from gangs. They had each other and that made their poverty life good enough to not be trying to desperately change it. You know, it's like a lot of people with an average financial situation, when they see or know someone that has more money than them, living in a big house, driving a better car and ish, they be thinking like, man, I wish I had that amount of money and have all that. But the majority won't do a lot about it. They just return to their everyday routine or make a positive resolution, like for example, I'ma work harder at my job or something like that. But nothing that would mean getting out of their comfort zone, because they have a comfort zone, which means that they are enough comfortable already even though someone's got more money than them and they ain't really got any perspective or something that they really desire, which being rich would allow them to achieve. So they just end up staying at the same level they've been at already, or making very slight changes that have no right to get them to the level they wish they had. Cause see, those people merely wish they had that amount of money, which means they probably would want to just randomly find a suitcase with $20 million inside and then be able to legally spend it. That's the difference from people who don't wish they were rich, but they want or rather desire to be rich. Those people have got a genuine motivation. For example, something that they desire would be only possible with having a lot of money. What I mean is that being rich is something that is universally considered as quality. The more money you have, the better you are, the more successful you are. That's how a lot of people look at it. It's like the most default perception. But in reality, or at least in my opinion, money is not quality. At the end of the day, your feelings matter. Are you happy or are you sad? Are you fulfilled or are you empty? Because you can be broke and be a happier man than a multi-billionaire, and also the other way around. It all depends on what fulfills you in your life and are you able to cope with your current state. If you're broke, you starve, you ain't got no friends, no hobbies, no love in your life, and there is barely anything in your life that fulfills you, then you ain't got a comfort zone. You're gonna be desperate and will try to change your current situation. But if you're broke, but you have some friends, love in your life, or you just enjoy what you do in general, you got a solid comfort zone. Even though you're not in the greatest financial situation, you are less likely to desperately try to change anything because the situation you are in is okay, and there is nothing that you desire so much to motivate yourself to make some moves and be willing to get out of your comfort zone to achieve it. Now Franklin, he had this comfort zone with Lamar. Now they wish they had money and but they didn't really desire it. They were enjoying enough what they already had. And that's how, in my opinion, they became friends. They were both #1 people for each other. Franklin was way more willing to accept or ignore all of Lamar's differences to him. And I'd even say that Frank just simply used to be more like Lamar back when they met. And that was going on for some time. And then Franklin met the love of his life, Tanisha, and they eventually got together. Tanisha became his #1 person. They were happy, even though Franklin was living a dangerous life in the ghetto. Tanisha was also from the hood, so similarly to Franklin ignoring Lamar's flaws, Tanisha was ignoring Franklin's dangerous life. In my opinion though, that changed when Tanisha's brother's been killed, without a doubt due to some gang related beef. as Tanisha says in one of her emails to Franklin that the deaths of their brothers made her realize that she wants to get away from the hood life. Tanisha realized that what happened to her siblings, what happens to a lot of kids from the hood who got involved in gangs, may happen to her family if she stays in that environment. And that was the moment in which Tanisha gained the motivation that we was talking about a while ago. A motivation to get out of the hood environment. There was an issue though. She was in a relationship with Franklin, who was a gangster. She most likely told Franklin what she wants, that Franklin is going to have to change if he wants to keep her. After all, Franklin did not change. Maybe he didn't take it seriously then. The moment in which he started to take it seriously is when Tanisha broke up with him. Tanisha had enough of Franklin's promises that he would change, while in reality, nothing was changing. That was a huge blow for Franklin. Tanisha gave up on him, and he could not cope with such a loss, which you can see during GTA 5. On multiple occasions, he asks Tanisha for another chance. But let's not go too far ahead though. We're at the point in which Tanisha breaks up with Franklin because he was still living a dangerous life which she wanted to get away from after their brother's been killed. And that is when the problem with Lamar appeared. See, Lamar was now not the #1 person for Franklin, Tanisha was. And Franklin also strongly desired for him to be Tanisha's #1 yet again. He regretted that he hadn't taken her request seriously, but he didn't want to give up. He knew that if he wants to at least have a chance with Tanisha again, he gonna have to get away from the gang life. Additionally, soon, when it turned out that Tanisha got together with some rich brain surgeon, Franklin also realized that he's got to make a lot of money to provide good living conditions to his potential family, as that what Tanisha will have got used to. And not only that, but I think that apart from him wanting to come back to Tanisha, this whole breakup made him realize himself that the life in the hood is bullshit, that is risking your and your family's lives for a laughable pay, that half of it you give away to the OGs anyway. And so he tried to make change. He wanted to look for a legitimate and safe source of income, which meant getting as far from the gangs as possible. Although not exactly, but I'll elaborate on that in a sec. But first, let's go back to Lamar's role in all this. Well, Lamar was not so keen on abandoning the gangs and the street life, even though he was saying that it's all he has and that there are no other opportunities out there.
So you giving me a lecture about not being a good enough gangbanger? Gangs is positive. That's all we got, my nigga. That's our heritage.
I think that Franklin says a very harsh truth about Lamar's approach in one of the hangout conversations.
Like I said, you cold.
I'm cold? Nigga, I'm hustling to get ahead, homie. You hustling because you enjoy it. You ain't trying to get out the hood, dawg, because you so real, right? And you call me cold. Nigga, you ain't cold, nigga, you dumb. Man, I'm starting to think you enjoying this shit.
Man, I don't give a about nothing, man. This ain't nothing to me.
Lamar enjoyed hustling in the hood and being a gangbanger. That was his comfort zone, and there was nothing at the moment that would make him want to desperately change his situation, especially that he still got to do it with Franklin, his best friend. But Franklin's priorities changed. Now, he would rather be with Tanisha than Lamar. But for Lamar, nothing changed. Franklin was still the most important person in his life. The main issue was that Lamar's lifestyle was clashing with the lifestyle that Franklin would have to conduct in order to give himself a chance with Tanisha, and that's where the problem started. But at first, Franklin tried to think of a way to make it work without sacrifices. He figured that if he can't make the money fully legitimately, because he's not qualified for anything that would be profitable, plus Lamar wouldn't go for it, his other plan was to make a lot of money illegally and then turn legit. That's why he came up with the forum Gangsters, for example. So Franklin and Lamar's own gang, so something that they got the know-how for and something that Lamar would enjoy. But at the same time, they would not be dependent on the OGs and they wouldn't have to give away half the profits to their bosses, so that meant more money. It didn't work out though, because Lamar was too scared of the Chamberlain gangster family's OGs, so the set they officially belonged to. The more legitimate way with Simeon also did not work out because of Lamar, as we already discussed earlier. Franklin began to see that Lamar kind of belongs in this world and that it may be impossible to take him where Franklin wants to go. Then Franklin kept looking for opportunities and met Michael, who turned out to be a retired professional robber. He saw this as an opportunity for himself and maybe for Lamar, but that's only if he gets serious and gets out of his ghetto mentality. He kept saying that he'd eventually involve Lamar in what he and Mike's crew got going.
You know what, dawg? If something good comes up, I'll hit my dude, man. Chill out, all right?
But after all, he hasn't done that at all. It was not because Franklin was a selfish asshole and wanted to keep all the money for himself. It was because he knew that the level of professionalism that Michael and his crew represented was something unachievable for Lamar at this moment in time. Remember how Lester didn't initially even want to get Franklin on board for the jewelry store job?
About the crew.
Yeah?
There's this kid who's been helping me. Maybe we could cut him in.
I don't work with amateurs.
He ain't an amateur. Or if he is, he's a gifted amateur about to turn pro. He's a good kid, Lester.
You know what they say, it's your funeral. One of them at least.
Alright, I want my guy Franklin on the getaway. He can handle a bike.
Alright, if you vouch for him, I'll take the risk.
And how Michael was quite uncertain about Franklin during the heist.
Listen, I stuck my neck out for you here.
Man, you don't need to tell me that shit again.
I got faith in you, F, but you're unproven.
Unproven? For real? So I didn't prove myself when I jumped off the back of that yacht on the highway, huh?
Yeah, but these guys don't know you. They see some gangbanger with a happy trigger finger. They got money and their freedom on the line.
I ain't gonna f this up, man.
Franklin saw that, and that affirmed him that Lamar is just not ready for that sort of pressure. I mean, it's not that the pressure would overwhelm him, he just wouldn't feel it. He just wouldn't care that people in his crew have got a lot to lose, that there are millions of dollars at stake, that one mistake and the whole plan could go left and they all go to the ground or to prison for a very long time. As much as Franklin wanted to help Lamar out, even if he told him about some job, introduced him to Mike, not only Lamar would be just laughed off, but also Franklin would lose in Mike's eyes for bringing such a crazy ass amateur to a serious group of people. For Franklin, it was a very difficult dilemma. It was either being a bit selfish, but giving himself any chance that maybe one day Tanisha will see that he changed and will come back to him. But as I said, it was also for his own sake, that as soon as he and Mike and Trevor would take care of all the issues they stirred up, he could live a safe life and a good life, a very good life. Or he could still follow Lamar, risking his life on the streets for dimes and nickels, but remain loyal to his crazy friend. And as I said, Franklin tried to explain to Lamar that he gotta get serious, wanted to bring him in, but Lamar, he wouldn't listen. He enjoyed the street life, and fair enough, you know, that was his place in the world. He was happy there even without a lot of money. He was missing Franklin a lot though, you know, after Franklin started rolling with Michael more. In their conversations during hangouts, but not only, we can see that Lamar also has a dilemma in his head. On one hand, he felt jealous of Franklin, and he even started to claim that if not for his lessons and his presence in Frank's life, Michael would have never even got him involved in his business.
Hey, what's up, homie?
Man, I was just thinking on shit.
Yeah, you always the philosopher, huh?
That's what I was thinking on. How you went on with them white dudes to teach you shit.
Basic money skills, homie.
Well, you're undervaluing and unappreciative of the shit that I taught you too.
Nigga, I ain't undervaluing it. All you taught me was how to fuck up and piss people off. But you know, Trevor and Michael and me, you know, they kinda got them talents too.
Nah, homie. See, me, I gave you character. My philosophy that rubbed off on you, man. It gave you your edge. That's probably what they seen in you in the first place.
That was exactly it. We're blessed with you walking among us, dawg.
On the other hand, deep inside he knew that this was not a life for him, but he missed Franklin, so he didn't know whether he should change or not. Sometimes he would say that he turned professional like Franklin and Michael.
I'm thinking where the blood stains and the bullet holes and shit.
Man, that amateur behind me, I'm a professional now, like you and them old dudes.
On other times, he would envy Franklin, and yet in other times he would say that he doesn't even want that kind of life and would just call Franklin disloyal as to kind of excuse his reluctance to change his approach.
Stop with that look on your face, dog.
What look, nigga?
That look, that thing in your eyes. You think you better than me, man.
Dog, I don't think
Just cause some fat white dude wanna turn you out don't make you special. I get white dudes wanna fuck me every day. I tell them go fuck theyself though.
Yet, it's pretty sad for him, but you can't really call Franklin selfish here, and you also can't call Lamar reluctant. You know, he was happy where he was, and Franklin used to also be happy being where Lamar was, but Tanisha changed that in him at some point, and I think that both Lamar and Franklin at some point began to accept that their paths strayed away, and it's never gonna be like back in the day anymore. Funnily enough, Lamar actually suspected that it was because of Tanisha that Franklin changed his approach, but that didn't really change a lot because Franklin wouldn't admit it to him.
Keep it 100, nigga. Let's get real, homie. We both know.
We both know what?
The only reason you trying so hard is because of Tanisha.
What, nigga? Man, give me a motherfucking break.
What's happening, homie? How you been?
Aw, nigga, you know.
No, I don't know, nigga. That's why I asked.
It's all good, my nigga. I'm just getting by.
Moving on, huh? Well, let's get one thing straight. Tanisha ain't interested in your dog ass, and she don't give a f.
You always speaking on Tanisha like a bitch. We was together, now we not, nigga. That's that.
Oh, nigga, how mature of you, nigga.
Nigga, she a cool girl, though. But it wasn't meant to be, dawg.
Oh, and now you're throwing your life away trying to get yourself all acceptable for when all the goddamn time you a jungle tiger, nigga, trying to turn yourself into a big-ass house cat. Yeah, that bitch want a nigga in a suit, nigga. She don't want no motherfucking killer on the prowl.
Nigga, you got away with words, homie. That bitch can do what the fuck she wants, nigga. It's over.
Yeah, whatever, nigga. If you say so.
I'm not surprised really. It would be like saying to him, look man, I chose a girl that does not even want me right now and she didn't like my life choices over you, my best friend who is always there for me, always been loyal and accepts me for the way I am. Some people prefer to keep such things unsaid, even if they feel like they both aware. For some reason such words said out loud would probably hurt a lot more than if it stays in your head. Maybe there's always this shadow of doubt that perhaps you're wrong and maybe that makes it better. But I think that was the case here as well. Franklin at some point even doubted if he still considers Lamar his friend.
What's up, babe?
No, it's Lamar.
What that fool want now?
It's your best friend. He's your best fucking friend.
For real, my best friend. My homeboy, right? My nigga. Man, fuck you. I mean, not like that, man, but no, he ain't.
But that was just a temporary stage, caused by too much rational thinking and too little empathy. Franklin, deep inside, knew that Lamar was very important to him. He just had to accept the fact that he's not going to be able to help him or to spend as much time with him as they used to. This is greatly shown at the end of Kill Michael ending, when Franklin felt lonely. He lost everyone. He killed Michael. Trevor didn't want to deal with him. And then he called Lamar, assuring him of their friendship.
Hey, Lamar, it's me, homie. Look, I was just calling to see how you was doing, dog, or maybe we can hang out or something. Anyway, man, just hit me, dog. We brothers, homie, all right?
You know, you don't realize you need someone until you lose them or once all the alternatives go away. It's a sad truth, but that's often how it works in life. Even though both of them over time learn how to deal with the new form of their relationship, in GTA Online we see that there's still this flavor of a grudge in Lamar for how Franklin treated him. Yet Franklin eventually got back together with Tanisha, which shows that his plan worked. But in this case, in order to build his family with Tanisha, he had to sacrifice his friendship with Lamar. Not completely, but it's still very sad, especially from Lamar's perspective obviously, because he was the one left alone. A very interesting analogy that I noticed is that this is kinda similar to Michael and Trevor's friendship, because Michael was also initially cool with Trevor's craziness. He was okay with living a dangerous life, similarly to how Franklin was initially cool with Lamar's gang life. And just like Franklin's motivation to change was love, so Tanisha, Michael's motivation to distance himself from Trevor was also love, in the shape of Amanda, with whom he had kids and they also wanted a secure life. The difference is that Franklin, as opposed to Michael, did not sell Lamar out to the feds. But you can see that the analogy is there, and I am more than convinced that it was intentionally done so by Rockstar. So to summarize a bit, the reason for which Franklin and Lamar's friendship suffered significantly during the story of GTA 5 was Franklin's change of priorities, or simply love. The breakup with Tanisha also made him realize that the gang life was very risky and not very profitable. Lamar was not of the same idea, so their paths began to stray away, as they both had different objectives and different ways. So, let me know if you agree with how I see that thread. If you liked the video, be sure to like it. And if you enjoy watching videos on my channel, I'd be very grateful if you also subscribed. Thank you for watching. Respect.